And in this community, we're talking about advancing in your career, accelerating your progress, being the high performers that we want to be, right? And having those highly fulfilled careers, right? Is about getting good at what you do, enjoying what you do. Part of that process is having that experience, but there's ways to shortcut that. So if you're into that, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
All right, welcome to the Impactful Engineer Podcast. I have Steve here with me today. Also have a guest sitting in the episode today, which is great. We want to start doing more casual episodes with guests. We feel like the casual conversations and the things that can be brought up that are beneficial to the community are just enhanced when you have someone sitting in and you guys are and we're having a conversation, right? And so we did choose a topic to talk about today, but lots of good perspectives that we'll have today to share with you guys. Before we do that, typical housekeeping stuff. If you're new to the show, we usually have Steve and I coming on with a topic. We discuss it ahead of time. We have something prepared for you. We try to make it impactful so that you can walk away with some sort of actionable item or tip to run with and apply immediately to your career. Sometimes either Steve or I will get on solo type episodes. We'll come in with a hot topic we have for the week, something we're really thinking about or passionate about, and kind of just run the gamut on it for like 10 minutes straight. It's more like a lecture, and just try to get something out there that you can take, consider, or even hit us up and say why you disagree. Start a good conversation from it. But we just take those ideas that we've seen in our weekly business, right, and just hammer it. So those are fun. Those are fun to do. I hope you enjoy them as well. And then every once in a while we have a guest. Usually we'll prep with the guest. We'll have a certain topic we're going to talk about. They have an expertise, right, that we really want to hit. But we also want to start doing just conversations, like I was saying before. So today we have Spencer is on the show with us today. He's very active on LinkedIn. I'm sure we'll give him a chance to share what he's doing, what he's up to, where you can reach him. He's providing a great service right now. He's also a full-time engineer, but he wants to help people, help aspiring engineers just like we do. So that's why he's hanging out with us. And so thanks for hanging out, Spencer. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So
Very spontaneous.
Very spontaneous. This was just a meetup today, but we're just going to turn it into an episode. So today, just to kind of prime it, just to set it up, what we're going to talk about is when you're first entering the industry or your first job, say straight out of school or you're switching careers, there's always this level of experience that the other engineers around you are going to have that you don't, of course. They're going to be able to do their job or do your job with ease, right? With very little prep. Okay. And that just comes through experience and doing it a lot. So before you take those reps and spend that time and get that experience, there's things that you can do to accelerate the process and your ability to do the job just as well as they do. And in this community, we're talking about advancing in your career, accelerating your progress, being the high performers that we want to be, right? And having those highly fulfilled careers, right? Is about getting good at what you do, enjoying what you do. Part of that process is having that experience, but there's ways to shortcut that. So if you're into that, that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's all about, in my mind, guys, it's all about prep. When I was a new engineer, starting my first job back in 2014, there were a lot of responsibilities thrust upon me, right? It was a small company, and so we just really hit the ground running. Okay, and I had zero experience. I had no idea really that the construction industry and building systems engineering, facilities engineering even existed. Of course it existed, right? We have buildings and things that operate. But my awareness of that was zero. All right. I maybe knew what a breaker was because I had to reset it once or twice at home. That's it. So what I could do to overcome the feelings maybe of imposter syndrome was just to be super, super prepared. And then also to be able to show others around me and my direct supervisor what I had, what I got, and make sure that my career progress was where I wanted it to be, right? So being prepared. I have this saying that your level of prep in the beginning is going to be super high, and your level of prep as you gain experience is not going to have to be as high to perform the same function. So when you first get there, what you want to be doing, what I suggest that you do, you're not going to know immediately on the first day, but as you get your feet wet and a couple weeks goes by, you'll kind of know the parts and pieces and what is expected of the job function. And then you're going to take those job functions and break them down into the most minimalist, I don't know if minimalist was the right word, but the most in-depth descriptions. Like you're writing something that's literally going to tell you when you wake up, you remove the covers from your body. You sit up. You open your eyes. You take a breath in. You turn and put your feet on the floor. I'm talking detailed ways, kind of like standard operating procedures or something, but much deeper than that for yourself to prep.
Yeah, it's just to interject a little bit. It's a set of work instructions, right? That if you can hand it to a monkey, they can follow it, right? That they can read those work instructions and do the most professional job possible because they are following everything to a T.
For someone that knows nothing about what's happening, which is you.
Yes.
Right?
You're the monkey.
But yeah, writing those instructions to get the result that is desired from your position, which after a couple weeks you kind of know the overall high level, but you can start taking those results that they want or expect from you and breaking them down. That's really the basis for my suggestion, and you can get people to help you with these pieces because you'll start thinking about what is the best way to do this. And a great example for me is, and Spencer, you can jump in anytime, but like a field visit. So in my industry, I'm in the building systems industry, construction, electrical engineer, right? We've designed a complete project. It's being built, and one of our jobs as engineers is to go out and make sure that it's being built to the spec, to the contract documents, the designs, the technical specs, all that stuff. So we go out and we observe. Now, one of the goals, right, is to align the contractor's work with the drawings, to field questions that they have to make sure they're going in the right direction, to solve problems for them, to work with the team, to get the owner what they need, right? On budget, on time, all that stuff. So for certain periods of getting out to the construction site, there's different objectives. So the first one being, okay, we've put the walls up and we've put all the field devices and the boxes and the raceways and things like that to receive wiring and terminate devices before we close up walls. Okay, so call that a rough-in inspection. Write yourself a rough-in inspection SOP. What is super important? Well, one of the things is to make sure that every box you see mounted in the wall is exactly where it should be per your plan and that nothing's missing, right? So that's a very simple thing you can do. So write yourself an SOP for that. Have that as a line item. Have yourself take a picture of it. Mark it on the plan. Know who needs to know what as a result of your work. So break it down. And this is in lieu of like, okay, I'm going out there with a senior engineer. They know how to do all this. I'm going to tag along and observe and kind of learn that way. What I'm saying, and that's fine. What I'm saying is talk to them ahead of time, review field reports that have been done by other engineers, because for years this company has been doing that. So observe some of those, read them, know what is good about them, what is bad about them, what could be improved, and build yourself a nice set of instructions. Over prepare, and then you'll shine in the field and show these people that your senior engineer is going to go, wow, you showed up with all this stuff, you knew exactly what to do. that's part of the message today. Over preparation.
Yeah.
We'll accelerate it. I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a good helpful tip to get started is to talk to the senior engineers and ask them for their SOPs that they have, because they're going to have stuff that they used either earlier in their career or it's like a standard document within the company's archives, right? So ask them for their SOP and then use that as the baseline to construct your own instructions to make sure that you are going through every checklist item and asking them, okay, what are the nuances to how you do this, right? Because every seasoned, experienced engineer is going to do things a little differently. And you can pull from maybe a handful of senior engineers and see what works most effectively from each of their processes and what kind of resonates with you to have the most effective process that you can execute to.
Yeah, not everybody's going to do it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's perfect. Getting multiple perspectives. Spencer, in your world, have you deployed this, and what are your thoughts on this idea of over prepping as a newer engineer?
Yeah, I actually have an example that's pretty similar to yours. So super early on in my career, I found out that being able to do ECOs at my company was like a requirement to go from engineer 1 to engineer 2. I was just like on the job list requirement. And so I was like, great, I've got to figure this out, but I have no idea how to do an ECO. The very first question is, what is an ECO? And then it turns out the company didn't have, a great SOP for this. It just lived in the engineers who knew how to do its brains. So I sit down with a more senior engineer. I'm like, look, I really want to know this and I want to be able to do this. Let's walk through one together. And I sit and record the whole thing. I'm recording screenshots. I'm recording, what I'm doing. I'm typing Word documents, all of it, because I don't want to have to ask him in, 4 weeks, hey, what did we do here? Obviously, if there's a different part of the ECO that we didn't cover, great. That makes sense. Let's ask about it. But like, if you only have to ask once and then you're able to reproduce results on your own, like that's a huge step up. Even if it's coming from an SOP, that's fine. You're still new. You don't have years of experience doing this. But if you are contributing on your own, no one's checking in on you, be like, hey, Spencer, do you know how to do an ECO? My answer would be no, but I can do one. Like I have the resources I put together to go and do it. So
that's a great way to stand out, because as you were talking, I was thinking you're doing all that work in the background, like you're talking about, the taking the screenshots and writing down notes. And do you know that most people don't do that? All right, so that's one way you can prepare yourself to stand out. But also, all the other engineers that have been there for years have seen new people come and go, come in and get promoted, come in and go horizontally somewhere else. They've seen people passing through. And if you and they have an idea of how it goes, right? Yeah, we're going to get to this point, and they're going to forget this, and I'm going to have to show them that. Of course, I'm not going to be proactive about it, because that's not my job to train people. And that's another symptom of another problem of the company you're in. But they're going to have that perception, right? And then if you outshine that perception and you show them that you're going to stand out, you're going to be unique. If you hit all the other stuff that all the other people stumble upon because the systems are broken, and we just do it. We just throw them to the fire, and that's how it goes. But if you show them a better way, and they go, man, Spencer just like knows how to do these, and I've never really had to talk to him about it, and I just grabbed him for this assignment because I thought, I needed somebody, I need him to go do it, and it just came back like 95% perfect. They're going to remember that for sure, and there will be talks behind closed doors, between managers, between people of influence and power. The politics game will kick in, and your name will be thrown into a great pool of rising stars and good perception. So there's many benefits to this. Hey, my fellow impactful engineers. If there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, it's to keep listening to the podcast, but also that if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it,
and pass on the good word. Now back to the show.
When you do this, so like ECO is just like one example, but like companies have tons of processes, things that you're going to show up and do over and over again. If you're doing this every single time and you only have to ask once, maybe twice for clarification on some things, and then you just show up and you start delivering, your turnaround on like when you become profitable as a new hire is way shorter. Your turnaround on when you can go from, let's say, engineer 1 to engineer 2, like that timeline can be drastically shortened because by the time you're independent, right? Once you have all your SOPs created, your recordings, all these things, you're ready to be a level 2 engineer, because essentially, in my opinion, that's what differentiates level 1, level 2. Level 1, step above intern, right? You're coaching them through things, but that's it, right? Like you tell them, like, this is what we're going to do, and they go do it. Level 2 is they're able to do all those base level functions without having to ask every single step. So you're independent. So
now,
anyways, sorry,
Steve, I know I totally was an ass. You were going to say something about from the perspective.
Yeah. So from a perspective of a manager, when you have a new hire who can come in, ask how to do something once, and then they just start doing it, you see them as someone who requires very little micromanagement. As a manager, you're going to assess new hires to figure out their level of micromanagement that they need, because some need more and like more, and some require a lot less and do not want to be micromanaged whatsoever. So use that strategy to set the precedence of the level of micromanagement that you prefer. And most people don't like to be micromanaged, right? But there are some that do. But when you can execute on your own from just having an established SOP, and the manager that you are working for is going to be like, yeah, I could just give him stuff and he can just go execute and doesn't have to worry about it. And so you'll be able to have a little more autonomy in your job and not feel like there's someone watching over your shoulder all day long.
Yeah. And my opinion on micromanagement has been that it's just a way to show what the trust level is. I was trying to say that smarter and more intelligently, but that's how it came out. The trust level, I think, is proportional to how micromanaged you're going to be. And of course, if you're brand new, how are they supposed to just trust you with everything? So you're going to hear more from them and all that. But if the quickest way out of that is to build the trust, and doing this will build that trust very quickly. So if you don't like to be micromanaged, this is a great way to make sure that doesn't happen.
One of my favorite ways I've seen that put is the higher you go, the more basic instruction can be given, right? So like a level 1 engineer, we don't say like, hey, I need you to make this product or whatever this is, right? It's like we break it down to the subsystem and then like the task on that subsystem for new engineers, right? Like, all right, we're going to work on this subsystem and we need it to be 20% lighter, or so, whatever metrics we need. But then as you go up in engineering, right, it might be like, hey, I need you to make this better. This is the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And then at some point you get to the point where it's like, I just need you to make this better. We haven't figured out what the problems are. Just make it better. Right. So.
Yeah. Quicker
that's absolutely true.
I did an episode on that a little while ago, but yeah, the quicker you can establish yourself as someone that can just take an instruction and then get the result, even though the result was not known by the person giving you the instruction yet, the faster you're going to climb, for sure. It's a hugely sought after skill, mindset. So you can think about that too, as you work your way through that. And this over prepping, so kind of tying it back to the original skill, or I guess mindset of over prepping when you're newer or transferring in industry, can help you do that for sure, because you're doing a lot of the work on your own and information gathering to improve your skill on this, and you're not exactly just turning around question after question after question to the person that delegated to you. You're actually like putting together a strategy to prepare use all the resources around you, including examples of past work, other engineers, and stuff like that. So it'll improve that perception as well.
Another quick thought on that. After you've put together all of these SOPs, just like slap the company logo on the top, stick it all into a Google document, and then deliver that to your manager and be like, hey, the next time someone new comes through here, hand them this.
Beat me to the punch.
Yeah, I mean, it can go a long way. So,
yeah,
especially with companies that either they don't have the SOPs in the engineering, right? They've got onboarding, but like, I haven't been to a company where it's like, hey, this is how you get the software on your computer, right? Who do you even talk to? Sometimes that's you have to ask like 5 people just to get to figure out where you're going, right? But if you have that all figured out, you have like, this is who you talk to, this is their contact info, and right, you're building out these SOPs just as you're joining the company. Like that's going to work great for the person that's coming right behind you.
I think sometimes the mindset of all the senior engineers is just like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And if they don't figure it out, then that in itself is a indicator of their future performance or something. I think that's, while there's some truth to that, when I heard what you said, Spencer, I was just like, oh, there's always things that could be improved that just help people out. And it's not a matter of, well, if you baby them and give them everything, they're never going to, it's like, no, they're going to learn everything because we were laying it out for them. And they will gain the skill of then doing that for somebody else one day. Because if you can distill something down into the very basic pieces and parts, you understand that thing through and through, like very well, and can teach it. Right? So you might as well start bringing people on board like that, I think. I mean, I'm even writing with the current co-op right now, really cool dude, into making improvements like this. We're writing things down to the level of like how to take photos of things in the field. We're writing an SOP for that. Because I can't tell you how many times it's like you take someone new out and you're like, okay, yeah, let's make sure we photograph everything we look at today. And that's the instruction. And then you get back to the office and you don't know what room you're in this 100-room lab. You don't know which wire mold on the wall you were even looking at because it's so zoomed in. But you took a picture of the right thing. It's like, oh, this device wasn't installed correctly. Great. Where the heck is it? So you take 15 minutes trying to figure out and follow the stream of photos if they're still in order from being dumped on the server to figure out where it is, and then you're trying to tell the SOP says before you enter a room, you take a picture of the room placard on the outside with the room number. If that's not installed yet, you take a picture of the plan with the room tag on the plan. Every picture following that is in that room, and then you take a new picture of the next room that indicates you've moved on. Like, if you just put that in the SOP, and some new guy goes, oh yeah, and I've ordered them on the server by the room numbers, and here's the dude shining, right? So the SOP just gives you that edge, right? I think I've hammered that. Sorry,
yeah.
That's just
something I like to add a little bit is, a lot of it's about energy management, right? If you have an SOP, that means you're spending less of your energy, like your mind power, however you want to phrase it, into doing that thing. And that opens you up to be able to do more things in your day. So you can get more done in a day by automating your process by following these SOPs.
Absolutely. And the worry goes away. I know there's a lot of people that you have anxiety, like especially if you're new and you're going to travel 45 minutes to a very big city in some high-rise building, and you don't even know if you need a badge. You don't even know if where you're going to park. You don't even know how long it's going to take you to get there. What if there's traffic? You have an SOP that just says make sure you leave. If you're going to Boston from this place, make sure you leave an hour early because at this time of day, it's always crazy traffic. Oh, if you're working for this client, you're going to need a badge, and sometimes your project managers remember or not remember that. So make sure you're coordinating that ahead of time. Yeah, it's SOPs are a great way to do that. And on top of that, you can bring all your SOPs and all that over prep you did and all the notes you wrote yourself to your next promotion, and then you're just going to turn around right away, already know how to do all that, and then give it to the person that you're now in charge of, and they're already up to speed. Like, or at least have the instructions to become up to speed quickly. Anyway, prepare. Be over prepared. Just kind of tweak the mindset a little bit. There's a lot of things you got to think about, but this is one of them that could help. Try to fit it in. And Steve, that's it. That's all I got.
Well, before we sign off, though, Spencer, let's talk a little bit about how people can reach out to you, find you, and how can you help them?
Yeah, so I run a coaching business called Engineered Success. I'm primarily on LinkedIn. You can find me, Spencer Iverson. There is another Spencer Iverson that is much richer and much more famous than me. That's not me.
So look for the other one.
Yes.
Is that in your bio?
But again, I focus on mechanical and electrical engineers. I believe this other Spencer is in business, and so business, finance, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I help early career engineers just kind of figure out what's going on, really similar to this conversation. A lot of that energy is just like finding your first job, right? A lot of people think like, oh, I'll be a good student, and then like the job will just figure itself out. Being a good student is not the same skill set as navigating the job search or being good at your first job, unfortunately.
Yep.
So you're saying there's more
learning to do. So we kind of walk
do.
through what's missing. Yes, there's more learning to do. School was the beginning. Your degree is the beginning.
Yep.
That's the foundation that you build everything else on. So yeah, swing by LinkedIn. I post content every day that's, similar to this again. How do you navigate your early career, especially finding a job? If you agree with what I say, great. If you don't, then tell me why. This is all based around my experience, right? And so maybe my experience is special, but it's not wrong. It's just my experience.
Yeah, that's a good nuance to put in there, or a good perspective, because I just don't want people to be turned off and completely ignore things that they just don't initially agree with. There's always something in there that you could find that it'll surprise you, that you could use. So yeah, I like that. I like that clarification. Great. Go find Spencer on LinkedIn. He's just another part of the, happy to welcome him into the community. Happy to hang out with him, get his perspective on things. And it's just another way that we can reach more engineers, aspiring engineers, to hopefully help you out with your career.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.